For the second time
this
week, we begin the show with Damian Lillard. It's only Wednesday, people. Last night, he dropped 61 points in a must-win game over the Mavericks to put the Blazers in control of their playoff destiny. Dame played 41 minutes. He shot 17 for 32 from the field. And remember those 2 missed free throws from the Clipper game the other night? Yeah. Last night, a perfect 18 for 18 from the line. When Dame checked back into the game for the final time with just over 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Take a look at this. This is insane. Just completely took over the game. You can see here in the Blazers play-by-play. It was Dame's third 60-point-plus performance of the season. His first 60-point performance came on November 8th against the Nets. Yes, this is all the same season. Then January 20th, Dame scored 61 against the Warriors. The only other player to have 3 or more 60-point games in one season is, Wilt Chamberlain. Damian Lillard, Wilt Chamberlain. Portland clinches the 8th seed with a win against the Nets on Thursday. That is tomorrow. If they win, they would only have to win on Saturday in the first Western Conference play-in game on ABC to face the Lakers in the first round of the playoffs. So, Amin, do you expect them to lock it up the old-fashioned way with a win?
Yes, absolutely. I want to point out that I had the Blazers going into this as being the team that would face the Lakers in the first round. So, pat on my back right there. But in terms of whether they're going to be the 8th seed or the 9th seed, I think the task ahead of them is very clear. They've got to beat a Nets team that's scrappy but not really high on talent at this point. And the reality is when they look at who the Grizzlies are playing, a Bucks team that won't feature Giannis probably, when they look at who the Suns are playing, a Mavericks team that has nothing to play for will probably pull the plug. There's enough added pressure for them to take this game very seriously. But you saw Dame last night. You saw his post game with Chris Haynes. This is a man on a mission. There's no way in hell they're going to lose this game. They'll be the 8th seed.
I don't like that I agree off the top with Amin, but I agree. I expect the Blazers to lock up the 8th seed, and I'm not surprised at all at how Damian Lillard is performing. Now, back in March, once everything really got shut down, I actually FaceTimed Dame, and he told me that even back then, he was putting the finishing touches on his home gym. So basically, he immediately switched gears to preparing for now what we're seeing. But what people forget is this is who he is. The beef with the Clippers just reminded us of that. That's why we talk about him like the underdog, because why do we always need reminders of Damian Lillard's greatness? This is who he is. You mentioned it, Rachel, you know, all the numbers that he's had this season. Well, back in late January, he was doing this exact thing, averaging 49 points per game over 6 games. Right? I remember shooting him text saying, go off, go off, go off. So yes, this is who Damian Lillard is. It's just that now he has that extra layer of motivation, and you don't want to be the reason or the source of that. You don't want to be on the other side of that.
Right, because he experienced that after the Clipper game. He certainly took it on his shoulders. And by the way, 2 free throws is not ever going to be the reason of a win or loss. There is the 48 minutes or the 47 minutes and 30 seconds before that. But he did take it on his shoulders, and I think he sees finishing this out this week with a win over the Nets as being his personal responsibility after what happened a few nights ago. Amin Elhassan, to use Jackie McMullen's phrase, I'm calling shenanigans on you because the Blazers were the most popular pick for the 8th seed going into the scenario once Nurk and Zach Collins were deemed healthy. So you don't get credit for that, but you do get credit for being right. If not first, you do get credit for being right. And since you both have them penciled in as the 8th seed, I want to move on to who you guys think they might play in that play-in game on Saturday. So I love the Jeopardy music there, by the way. Nice job from the control room. If it will be the Grizzlies or the Milwaukee, we would never use real Jeopardy music. We can't afford that on the jump. If the Suns and Spurs both lose, if Memphis or Portland loses, that opens the door for the Suns to get in with a win over Dallas, and the Spurs would sneak with a win and losses by 2 of the other teams in the race. So, Chiney, who you got? If you already think Blazers are going to be one of the teams in the play-in game, who is the other one?
This is tricky because obviously we know the Grizzlies have controlled their own fate too, but you know the Jaren Jackson injury, not having Justice Winslow hurt the Grizz. But John Morant has done all he could, you know, which is why he'll be Rookie of the Year. But the team trending upward are clearly the Suns. The Suns are shining. Devin Booker has arrived, showing in this small sample size that he's not just the bucket getter, but he is a competitor and a winner. His game is so polished. He's improved his mid-range, and now he has a great pick-and-roll partner in DeAndre Ayton. And Ricky Rubio holds it down, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, they all know their roles. So I think everything is finally coming together in Phoenix. Amin, the Valley Boys are now the Bubble Boys.
Yeah, no, the Suns have been playing fantastic throughout the bubble. Their first few games were against tough teams that had their whole rosters out there, and so they went out and beat them fair and square. Devin Booker, as you said, has become a complete player, not just the offensive package, but really competing on the defensive end. This team is defending, is really scrappy. They're playing a Dallas team that, as I said, locked into the 7th seed, not much to play for, so they'll probably sit everybody. And because of all of that, Phoenix going Phoenix. I feel like this is the one that they're going to blow because all the expectations are there. They haven't, look, they won 7 games in a row. The last time they won that many games, I worked there. So just to put in perspective how unprecedented this is for them over the last decade, I think Memphis is going to win that.
Yeah, but it's a bubble. Anything can happen in the bubble. We're at Walt Disney World. There's magic here. Cinderella's wandering around. You don't know. Things can happen. I do want to ask you about the Spurs, though, Amin. You're not giving them any chance or any love?
No, I just gave them like a good 45 seconds of love. Now, whether they seal the deal, that's on them. But the reality is, they're in the unenviable position of still needing something else to happen. So they can go out and beat Dallas, but if Memphis goes out there and takes care of business, then that's not going to be good enough for them. And that's the part that really hurts. But that's why we focus on the whole season and not just the last 7 games. That's why you play hard in January and December and November, because you don't want to be in this situation where you're praying for someone else to mess up to give you an opportunity.
Although, what would it be if it was not the end of the NBA regular season, if we didn't have scoreboard watching? It's nice to have at least a little bit of that normalcy back, even though it's August and I'm in a bubble and nothing is normal. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.